Hello, hello. How's everyone doing? My name is Sharon Combs, and this is Knowledge or Nonsense. As you know, it is the month of March, and so it's Women's Month. We are definitely highlighting and celebrating women of excellence, professional, high impact, high development females, women this month. And so we've been really highlighting and getting to know a few people in our industry and outside of our industry that really make a difference. Um, and one of the qualifiers for me in making a difference is you're making a difference whether a camera is on you or whether the camera is not on you, whether the microphone is in your hand or whether the microphone is not in your hand. Making a difference is something you do day in and day out because you're being consistent and deliberate and intentional in how you are approaching your days, how you are approaching your profession, how you are approaching even the interactions you have with other individuals. And so today I'm really excited. We're going to speak with a lady named Viktoria Ruiz, and she's actually running for the board of directors with HSPA. In addition to that, she is an executive in sterile processing. And so we just want to spend a little time getting to know her, getting to know what her passions are, what her heart is toward this industry, toward HSPA, toward the community, just getting to know a little bit more about her. And so you guys know what to do. Share this video. If you have questions, put your questions in the chat. If you're watching on a replay, hit replay and let us know where you're watching from. So let's do that right now. And in about 22 seconds, we'll be back. And it'll be myself and Viktoria, also known as Tori. Okay, yeah, you guys get the gist. We'll be right back. Hello. Hey, Tori.
Hey, Sharon.
Hey, Sharon. Welcome. I'm so glad to have you on the platform. Thank you so much for just taking some time to speak with us, talk to us. I know that you are an experienced professional. You have a track record of leading teams to achieve their mile markers organization-wide, not just at one facility, but standardizing processes, really investing in your team and investing in the organization. And I know that you're highly skilled in motivating team members so that the productivity is there, the education is there, the efficiency is there, right instrument, right place, right time, that type of thing. So tell us a little bit about you. Your name is Tori, also Viktoria with a K. I like it. Tell us a little bit about you and maybe how you even ended up in healthcare.
Yeah, so a little background is I did fall into my healthcare situation. I joined the Air Force when I was 19, and that was the job they put me in. It was actually a surgery tech job, and in the Air Force, they teach you to be a surgery tech and a sterile processing tech because we did all our own instruments. So depending on where you were, either you would, if you're in smaller clinics or surgery center type places, you would follow your instruments and just do them right from, or you would rotate if you're in the larger hospitals. I worked in a couple of our larger hospitals. They were both teaching hospitals, which worked out well because that was where I found out I like teaching and I like being an educator. So I worked my way up from surgery tech and sterile processing tech to first a preceptor, teaching new people, and then I started volunteering for things. One thing everybody told me when I joined the military, they said, don't volunteer for anything in the military. That's a bad idea. I volunteered for everything. I won't say it was all a good idea, but most of the time it was a good idea. I got to learn a lot of things. They'll definitely like to, if you're one who likes to learn things and can pick them up quick, they will teach you a lot of things, and then they will absolutely have you do a lot of things. So I got to be a preceptor. I worked my way into supervisor positions. I actually taught what we called the phase 2 course for the surgery techs and sterile processing. So it was about a little less than half classroom time, and then the rest of the time was hands-on training. And that was the best because I still got to sometimes be in a room and, scrub in or be down in SPD doing the actual job with our students. And I got to do a little bit of classroom time too. So that was fun for me. So once I did 8 years active duty, honorably discharged, I just decided, I was done with the military lifestyle and wanted to see what was out there. So I got out, and I actually kind of fell into my first leadership role outside the military in sterile processing. There was a supervisor position, and I applied for it, not knowing, if I would get it or not, and went in and interviewed, and they gave me the job. I got the job, and basically they said, when is the first time you can take a test, because you need to be certified for this. And I said, I don't know, let me look into that, because I had not before. And so for me, getting my first certification was, it was part of keeping my job. And that's all I knew, is I needed to study real quick and, go get this certification. And if I failed the test, I was going to lose the job. So it was very important. So I passed, thank goodness. And for years after that, I maintained certification, but I didn't realize all of the things that came along with that, all of the opportunities, that being a certified member of HSPA, for example, gives you. It gives you so many opportunities for education, conferences, give you the amount of networking that you can get, nowhere else. And just being in that room with all of those other people who are also passionate about sterile processing is something that you just don't experience otherwise. So, until I started getting into those things later on, and just, my supervisor position grew into, I want to educate, I want to do more things, I want to learn more, and I just kept going. And now I'm here.
Okay. Where is here? Not physically, but what organization level you're are you a director, system director?
I'm an area director I have several surgery centers, and I run the sterile processing portion in each center. They're fairly large for surgery centers, and I have worked between hospitals and surgery centers for a while. It's the last, maybe, I want to say about 5 years, I've been on the surgery center side and finding out more and more about what kind of things are happening in the surgery centers that maybe bringing some more education into them and some more opportunity into those technicians, or even sometimes it's, a medical technician that's doing some kind of sterile processing, and have they ever been offered the education to do better for our patients? Things like that. Really looking at all the different ways we're processing the things in this kind of different format, because we have all these larger cases now going to surgery centers. It's so great. It's great for the patients because they get to go home. They don't have to be in a hospital. It's easy. The physicians like it, and it's nice because it does free up a lot of space for bigger, surgeries, big heart surgeries and, traumas and stuff like that really need to be in the hospital. Now they're not waiting for an elective surgery that can be in a surgery center. But at the same time, what does the sterile processing in that surgery center look like? Because they started out maybe just doing, lap choles or hernias, and now they're doing large orthopedic surgeries or even spine. Yes. So that's why I really got stuck in the surgery center side. And I hate to use the word stuck because I don't mean it in a negative way. I love learning about it and bringing those opportunities to the different centers.
I know you do. When you were talking, I was just thinking about there was a word a lady used for me like years ago, and it was my first time hearing this word, but it's kismet. And as you were talking, I was like, it's almost like kismet because you have surge tech in your background and you were doing both, And one thing I know about surgery centers is there's a lot of cross training because you don't have the same amount of individuals nor do you have the same amount of real estate and layout and the physical layout, like the building of it. And so it's just like, I love when people are talking and you can see the trajectory, not just because they say it, but you can hear it. So it's almost like, yeah, you just kept going and kept growing and kept expanding, not just your abilities, but also your role and your responsibilities. And you're still teaching. That's what makes it kismet. Like, you're still doing the thing that you were doing before. You're like, no, I want to learn this. What if you'd have followed that advice when they said, don't volunteer for anything? You may
Yep.
not be in this role, and we may be robbed, or your surgery centers may be robbed of the expertise and the
Who knows what I'd
dedication.
be doing?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I love it. I love it. So now I know with HSPA, you are a candidate for the board. So hey guys, vote, 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 vote. Find out about your candidates and vote. Of course, I'm not going to tell you who to vote for. I'm going to hint about who I'm voting for, at least one of the people you can see kind of on here. But with you accepting, in order for you to run for a board of, like, for the director, to be a candidate for the board of directors, you have to be nominated. So once you're nominated, that means someone else has to say, hey, I think you would be good in this, and verbalize it. Then you have to accept it. What made you decide to accept it?
So I have been thinking about it for the last few years. I didn't feel like a couple years ago I quite had the capacity to do what I felt like really to give it what it deserves, what I feel like the role deserves. I was in a role for a while where I did, I still, even though I had that passion for sterile processing, I jumped out into materials management for a while. And I think actually when I met you, I was doing materials management. But in that role, my boss at the time had said, oh, I see how much sterile processing background you have. We need help in sterile processing. And, can you do both? So of course I volunteered, no, voluntold maybe that time. But she asked first. And I helped out, with a lot of revamping of that center's sterile processing. And when I met you, I remember having conversation few years ago in San Antonio and said, Sharon, I said, I know I'm not quite where I need to be. And I can't figure out exactly what it is. Is it not sterile processing anymore? Because that was a shock to me after, however many years now I've spent doing this. And it came from, I will say it absolutely came from, I will give all the credit to HSPA and the networking I did there, having conversations with you. I made several contacts there that I kept in touch with that, some of them let me know about jobs that were open that, had to do with things I liked. And what I had to do, and it's not easy to do, I will absolutely say, and it can be very frustrating, is find my niche, find the things that I enjoyed in relation to the job. And then you have to find a job that allows you to do those things. My role that I'm in now allows me to educate. It still allows me to, we were short staffed at one of my centers when I first started. And, a month into being there, I was in there all day, every day, just putting sets together or deconning, or running around, running sets to the OR, pulling cases, because those are the things I like to do. Do I like all the time the day-to-day? Not as much anymore, because it frustrates me now that I've been involved in other levels of things to say, okay, I want to follow that issue out the door and see what's going to happen with it and how we're going to fix it. And what's really fun about that is now I see that in my, I would say younger staff, but not so much age younger, but ones who have not been in sterile processing as long. You get the ones that come in that, you see the excitement and you see it in them. And then it's, I love being there. I love being there for that, because now I'm in a place where I can help them and tell them the things that I wish somebody had said to me, and remind them that, sometimes it does take a while, to work your way up. and you got to put in the time, but things will come, and there are ways to get what you want to get as long as you're willing to work for it.
I love that. I can hear the passion there. And I just even in that moment, just organic, like you can see the passion, the love, the pride that you have in the profession, and then seeing other people get it and they're taking ownership. They want to follow it out the door too. Hey, you want to make sure it's right. And so that means that there's engagement and buy-in. And you really can't put a price on that at all. So when you have it, it's a good thing. I think that transfers, that is going to transfer even into where you're running now for this board. The same thing of you've been involved in different levels, so you understand a little more about the decision making process and collaboration and working with other people. What are some things that you believe are the characteristics of a solid board member?
Oh, I think, it kind of similar characteristics to a solid leader. I would say, a lot of integrity. I heard you talking earlier about doing what you're supposed to be doing when the mic's off, when the camera's not on you, having follow through with, things that you're talking about. If I sit on this right now and say all these things and I don't go to work tomorrow and do them, what am I doing then? What's the point? I think honesty, when you can't give someone something, yes, I know you want to be a lead tech. We don't have a position yet. Here's some things, that I can give you to do right now, or here's some ways I see opportunity for you, but also being honest about it, and saying, telling people, maybe you're not ready yet, but let me help you get there.
Yeah.
There's just the two sides to it there. And I think, making sure that if we're members of the board in HSPA or any elected position, that you're listening to the members, listening to those frontline staff, the people that are working, all day, every day in the different settings, hospitals, clinics, surgery centers. They may not even be sterile processing technicians specifically. Maybe they're working in infection prevention. What do they need from us? What do they need from HSPA? What do they need for us to be putting out? What kind of education do they think, would be more beneficial than maybe what they've seen, or, that kind of stuff. And then, of course, ultimately being an advocate for sterile processing in itself, for the science behind it. So you have all these great people and these great companies that are doing all these experiments and trials and looking at all these different things, and being an advocate for that, and, looking at those things and keeping up with everything. And then an advocate for, of course, the people, all the people involved in it. We at an HSPA, we advocate for, of course, certification. We don't have nearly as many states as we should, all of them, requiring certification for sterile processing. So just, all of those things, I think, really need to be encompassed with anyone who's in an elected position for HSPA.
All right, what I'd like to do right now is I want to take a very brief commercial break. We're looking probably about 20, maybe about 20, 30 seconds. But I definitely want to take that commercial break. When we come back from this, from the promo break, you've been in the field for a while now. I mean, you started with 8 years in the Air Force, so thank you for your service. Even though I'm Navy, I'll be like, okay, you're still my cousin. You're in the Air Force. Yeah, it's okay. When we come back, you've been in for quite a while, and sometimes when we do things for quite a while, it's easy to kind of be removed or go through the motions. But I can hear, feel, and even see the passion and the excitement you still have, like for the process, for the people you're working with. I can feel your care, even though we're virtual and you're where you are and I'm where I am. I can feel your care. When we come back, I would love if you could share a little bit about how how you keep the passion, how you're reminded of the passion. Like, how do you keep the priority and still take joy, maintain joy in what you do? I think everyone should. Not that it's a very hard thing, but I would like to hear more about how you do it right after this commercial break. We'll be right back. All right, guys, we're back. I'm Sharon Combs. This is Knowledge and Nonsense. That promo right there was about language mastery. If you want help to improve in your communication, whether that's remedial or whether it's just honing and sharpening your sword of communication, by all means, reach out 214-717-5921, or you can go to pushapp.sharoncombs.com and find out more about the programs there. Now, today, whatever time you're watching this, we're speaking with Tori Ruiz, and she is actually a candidate for the board at HSPA. So please go vote. She's sharing with us some of the reasons, some of her journey, and also her whys as far as accepting the nomination, running, and how she feels about this industry, about healthcare and sterile processing. So Tori, we went to the commercial, I was asking you about the passion, about, how do you not get so stuck in the day to day that you forget, hey, I like what I'm doing. I like who I'm touching. I like the service. Can you tell us a little about that?
Yeah, I sometimes I just have to, first of all, get up from the computer and walk away and go into the department, put some scrubs on, go spend some time, and actually right now I've had so many meetings as of late that it's irritating me that it's been since last week since I've been in the department, or in a department at one of those centers. So, making sure that I take the time to do that and be around the people that are where I was when I started or somewhere along the line, and make sure, number one, make sure that I'm touching base with them and just, spending a little time getting to know them and, getting to see what their issues are or what kind of things maybe they haven't shared because they haven't, wandered over to my office, or I have more than one center. So maybe they haven't seen me in a while. Maybe they weren't even there last time I came to their center. So it's been a little while. Making sure that I'm available for them and that I spend that time. Definitely, of course, having some downtime in personal life, getting out there and doing whatever it is you enjoy, spend time with family, friends. We talked before, I have a cat, so try to spend a little time with her. She doesn't really need much. She just likes to sit on my lap while I watch TV. So it's real easy. But, making sure that I am, while I'm still showing up for the job and being professional and doing what I need to do on a daily basis, I'm changing it up a lot. For me, I did find that one thing that really keeps me, I guess, I don't want to say keeps me interested, but helps keep me really excited about something and having fun with it is change. I actually like change, which, might be part of why I like healthcare, because it changes all the time. And sterile processing, I won't say I like all the changes. I have a few changes, every other day, and we're still trying to get the last one right. But I enjoy it. And so I think that's really, for me, it's about talking to the staff, and sometimes it's a physician, chatting with them in a hallway in between cases, or the OR staff or whoever it might be, and just getting away from the computer every so often to make sure that I'm still touching base with the real people involved with what I'm looking at on the screen.
I get that. Recently, actually, it was last weekend, there was a local chapter meeting. It was virtual, but I was able to speak at it. And during the parts where we were doing the virtual networking, I spoke with some different people, and they actually were speaking to me. But what I remember about it is, like, they were saying things that reinforce my original why of why I do what I do. It's not for the finances, like the thing that pulls you at the beginning. And so some of the comments they made toward me shared. So I just want to say, do you have a story or something like that where something has happened that?
Yeah.
Because whatever
Actually,
like, yeah. Do you have like a yeah type story?
so I have a few, but I actually have a really recent one since you asked. It was, I want to say 3 weeks ago, maybe. I was at like a get together, not like a full fledged party kind of thing, but like a get together, and I didn't really know anybody there. I actually went with one of my sisters, who took me with her, and it was a bunch of people she knew. And I ended up sitting out in this one room, where it was just me and one other girl, and everybody else was in some other rooms. And and she was super nice. I had met her once before, very briefly, at a big dinner where we sat across the table and didn't really get to chat much. But she asked me she's this question that you get asked a lot in this life, but when you do what we do, there's a lot of different answers that you can give, and that people, it's kind of an interesting thing, because she asked, what do you do? Like, what do you do for work? And telling people who have nothing to do with healthcare that I do sterile processing, or I manage sterile processing, or I run part of a surgery center, or part of an operating room, or however you say it. I run a department in a hospital. There's so many different answers that I've given throughout the years, because it's sad that a lot of people don't know what sterile processing is. But people like us who have this passion, of course, always would love to tell you what it is. So she and I, she was real nice. Let me just say first, but she asked, and she said, I told her, I said, well, I actually I run the department that cleans and sterilizes all the instruments for surgery. And the look on her face was like, oh, like it was an impressed look, which honestly, I'm not always used to. I don't always get that for sterile processing, and I think I should. I think we all should.
Yes.
But we know where sterile processing is in society. People don't know what they don't know. I'll say, until you tell them. Like I chose to do that night. So so she said, oh, okay. She said, well, what does that take? What does that mean, really? And I said, well, I could talk for a long time on this, just a warning. And she said, go, let's do it. I don't care. Fine. And she said, tell me about it. I said, okay. I said, well, I said, it's just funny to me. I said, because people don't know what sterile processing is. I said, and I went into this whole spiel of, but we're sterilizing, we're making sure that there is nothing bad that's going to hurt you as the patient on the instruments that physician's going to use. And let's talk about it. If that physician is the best surgeon in the world and has the best technique and does everything exactly perfect, if we left something on that instrument and you get an infection from it and it was your leg, you might have lost it, or God forbid you die. And I basically said that. She said, and I never thought of it that way. She said, well, is it really hard? Is it hard to get into that job? And I said, it's getting to a point where you have to do more to get into it. I said, but the pay is not where it should be for all the things they're asking of a sterile processing tech at a lower level. And not everybody's required to be certified. And, and there are some places where non-certified people who have not been through any school are doing sterile processing because it's just, somebody told them push this button and write this number down. And,
right.
And she's like, oh, she said, I can't believe I never thought of it. And, the next question she asked, I will say, this girl, by the way, is one of my new favorite people in this world because of this question, because I never get this question. She said, if I'm a patient having surgery, what can I do? And I said,
Wow.
I was like,
Wow.
I was just like I am right now, still just telling the story, but I could not believe she asked that. And I said, thank you. Just first, thank you for even asking that question. I said, because I had to, I'm telling a short version of a much longer conversation we had. And I did tell her, even the instruments that think about your physician uses on you to say remove a mole or something like that in the doctor's office. Anything that they use on you has to be perfectly clean, right? In order to not get an infection. And she said, she said, what can I do? And I said, you can ask your physician. I said, if you're going to have surgery, say, hey, say, how is your sterile processing department? Say, what's your, ask, I said, and if you really want to be, you really want to get into it, say, hey, what's your infection rate here?
Right.
I said, but ultimately, the biggest thing you can do is ask your surgeon, your physician, the doctor in the situation, or the nurse practitioner, or, ask them, how is your sterile processing here? And see what they say. I said, and if they don't say anything or they look confused, I said, they might look a little confused that you're asking, because most people don't know what sterile processing is if they're not, in the healthcare industry. I said, but if they don't have an answer, I said, I might ask some more questions about it. Say, hey, tell them the story about tonight. Say, hey, I met someone who was telling me about sterile processing and how important it is. So, tell me, why is it not important enough for you to know about it? So we went through, I think she and I talked for about an hour, maybe a little longer. And at the end of the conversation, she was, I love her. And she just said, she said, Tori, and this is the best. She said, I feel like I've been living in a cave. I can't believe I had no idea what sterile processing was. This is a person who she's a mail carrier for a living. So she's not in healthcare at all. She's, she hasn't had a bunch of surgeries. She's never had a family member who had an infection that, made it become, she's never had any interest in being, a doctor or anything like that. She just was genuinely interested in the stories. And, having that conversation with her, granted, she's great on her own for, asking the questions that she asked, but having that conversation with her, and then I walked away from that get together that night and I thought to myself, wow, I thought, you know what? I said that conversation just reminds me how important what I'm doing and what we're all doing is right now. How many people in the world have no idea? How many people in the world are living in a cave, to use her words?
Yeah, you're right. Crazy. And that was a great question that she asked. It reminds me of, I'm from Oklahoma, which is a state kind of like in the Midwest, but I'm from a place called Tulsa, Oklahoma, and I graduated from a school called Oral Roberts. It's a Christian school. It's a faith-based school. I don't want to say Christian. It's a faith-based school. But when people would be in the hospital, in religious circles, if there's a hospital or someone's in the hospital, they send people out like chaplains, Catholic, whatever, to pray for the people. And when they pray, they would always be like, Lord, guide the doctor's hands, even the like everything. But no one would be praying for the instruments. And when they would get finished, I'd be like, and please make sure all the instruments are clean and sterile. Like they're in the right condition, because like you said, everything else can go right. But because they don't know, they're like, what instruments? It's like, touch the doctor, but there are other things that have to do with this process. I mean, and so, because you said that about the cave and the rock, like, wow, but people don't really know. No, and that's funny too, because a lot of us who work or in this industry, we didn't know really before we were in it. But most of the people who stay, they really do have a passion for it. And I know you have a passion for it too. So I'm glad you had that conversation with her. That's why you need to be a part of the board right there. Right there. You're representing us in the hospital.
Advocating at a party.
Yes, we need advocates. We need it. Okay, so I've asked you some questions. You are running, guys. Vote. Go to myhspa.org. Find out how to vote. Check your emails. The last election, they emailed out, and you had, if you go through that email, it takes you right to where you need to vote. If you go on the site, it'll let you know the different people who are running with a nice little just I call it a blurb, but there's going to be a paragraph talking about them. You'll be able to tell the certifications, the work, why they want to do what they want to do. And so you've answered most of my questions tonight. Is there anything that, no? Okay, so you're running, right?
Mm-hmm.
What is something that you are excited to bring to HSPA or even to the industry? Like
Ooh.
something you're excited to bring or something you're excited to shore up, like partner with, reinforce that's already there.
So I may have had a different answer before the I'll say the election season started, because once we found out who all was on the ballot and got on these, if you go online for HSPA, it'll take them to a link with a video where they interviewed all the candidates, and I actually got to meet the candidates and interview with them briefly, of course, like this, but. I think I'm most excited to collaborate with any of the other people on that ballot, because I think that it's a very strong ballot. It is a super strong ballot. There are some phenomenal candidates. Some of them I've known before and some of them I have not. And I'm excited to work with them and to, see what kind of things we can help make happen, for sterile processing.
I love it. I love it. It does appear to be a very nice group of individuals who've been nominated and who are running. So I'm glad that you're excited to collaborate. When I hear that, I do hear serve. I collaborate is a favorite word of mine since 2022. I've used it in resumes and everything, but something happened in 2022 where I realized collaborating is where you aggressively bring the best of you to a project, to a instance, to a situation, to an initiative. It's not you just showing up to say, well, I'm here because we're supposed to be here. That's cooperation. That even may be compliance if somebody made you come. But when you collaborate, you say, hey, I am going to bring the best of me. I'm going to work with you. We're actually doing this together. And you're right. I mean, you're in there, you're working with some solid people. You guys are partnering. So yeah, I like that too. I like being able to work. That's one of the reasons I really love Knowledge and Nonsense and being able to do virtual things, because you're still able to connect with some great minds, some people who are passionate about the things you're passionate about, your tribe, and it doesn't have to just be geographically limited.
Yep.
Through this thing we have, this virtual world, we can really reach out and connect for real, or as my niece would say, for true. We are able to connect for true. So, all right, I just want to say thank you so much. I don't think I have any other questions. Anything else you want to share with us?
No, I mean, just thank you, of course, for having me, Sharon. I appreciate it so much. And I would just share with everybody, vote, because there are a lot of members of HSPA and everybody should be voting. Just get in there, learn some things about the candidates, and your voice matters. Make it heard.
Your voice matters. Yes. Get in there and vote. I do want to encourage everyone watching Knowledge and Nonsense right here tonight with Tori. Please go on LinkedIn. If you're watching and you're not on LinkedIn, I don't want to say why super aggressively, like why, but I do want to say, what's the rationale? Why would we not be on LinkedIn? Why would we not be on a professional platform that helps us to connect with other people in the industry? Even Tori was saying just a few years ago, and in San Antonio at an HSPA meeting, and look at how much can change even in a few short years. That is your network. That will increase your expertise. It will increase the resources that you have, that you're able to connect with. Connect with Tori on LinkedIn. That's where I was going with this before I started. I was about to say, connect with our panelists on LinkedIn. Be sure to reach out to them, connect with her, connect with me. Many other people you connect with on LinkedIn. If you have a question, you can shoot them that question and they'll give you an answer. It's not like Facebook. It is a social platform, yes, but the formula of it is not like Facebook. And so If you're not on LinkedIn, I just want to encourage you. And LinkedIn doesn't pay me. I'm not I don't have a NIL agreement with them, but I know that LinkedIn has been instrumental, like monumentally instrumental, and some of the connections and opportunities that I've had. And I want you to have them too. And you can start with those by reaching out and connecting with Viktoria, Tori, on LinkedIn. Get on LinkedIn, guys. That's all I really have to say. I want to thank y'all so much for watching. Please share this video if you have questions, or if there's something you would like to ask Tori that you weren't able to ask her. Just put it in the chat or send me a private message on LinkedIn, and let's answer these questions for you. Let's get some resources to you, even if it's just encouragement. Let you know you may be in a rural community, you may be in a city community. You're not alone. Sometimes we get caught in that day-to-day where we're working and you've been in Deacon Town 4 days in a row and you don't know why, and you haven't seen anybody. You are not alone. There is a network of individuals that are here to support you, to just camaraderie, maybe just even just to listen for a little bit, however it works. But you're not alone. So please, please reach out to some people even outside of your department. This is a nice industry, guys. It's a very nice industry. Tori, again, I just want to say thank you so much. I hope you have an amazing time. I know we're in different time zones, separated, but we're here. You've made it. And I hope you have an awesome night. And guys, where did you say they could go? To HSPA and do what to watch the videos?
They can, yeah, it's right on there. There's little links to the videos for all the candidates. They interviewed every candidate.
Okay. Well, this has been great times, great amazement, and we have spent some time getting to know you here on Knowledge and Nonsense. Everyone have a wonderful night, and we will see you soon.